Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
Thank you for your awesome support on Patreon, Kratos' forgotten son, Chris Petrau. Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan form like Voltron. The B-Team and Kabuki Warriors both actually make it onto TV, and 2 more big matches are made for the Fox debut next week, but not really that Hell in a Cell show that takes place just a couple of days after. I am Luke Owen. Press the thumbs up button and leave a comment down below to answer our question of the day. What was your favorite moment from SmackDown Live across its run on the USA Network? And remember to vote in the poll above my head to let me know what you thought of the show, where you can choose from Smacknificent, Smacktastic, Smack Bang in the Middle, Smackdowner, and a smack in the face. But most importantly, give us a subscribe and help this channel grow even more than you have already. We've got an incredible amount of content starting up next week, with weekly reviews of not only Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, but also AEW Dynamite with Wrestle Ramble reviews for every show. We'll also be doing more live shows, and that means more podcast material and more video entertainment for you fine folk. So give us a subscribe and support WrestleTalk. This is the 24th of September 2019 edition of SmackDown Live, the final SmackDown Live of all time. Despite advertising that Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan would have a face-to-face meeting, with Eric Bischoff even tweeting that it was unmissable TV, cards subject to change, Eric Rowan and Daniel Bryan opened the show by having a match instead. The crowd were so into babyface Bryan, it brought back all of those wonderful memories of his WrestleMania run, as well as his initial return to the ring a couple of years ago. Not to say that his heel run wasn't great, because it was so great, but it's nice to see Bryan back as a good guy. And this was a really fun match, let down slightly by a botched finish, which saw Rowan give Bryan the Iron Claw over the ropes off a Luke Harper distraction, only for Bryan's leg to get caught. Rowan tried to free him, but couldn't. He tried to pin him, but the ref wouldn't allow it, so all 3 of them had to work to free Bryan from his rope prison. Rowan gave Bryan another Iron Claw for the win. Roman Reigns came down to make the save, and he and Bryan cleared house, with Bryan announcing that he and Roman Reigns would take on Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, which was later announced for Hell in a Cell. After a video package to hype Brock Lesnar, Kofi Kingston had a sit-down interview with an incredibly uncharismatic Michael Cole. Kofi said that he'd win next week, and that was your final build for the WWE Championship match on Fox. Well, it was a fun ride while it lasted, Kofi. Chad Gable came out next to address the short jokes being made about him, which brought out Mike Kanellis to make comments about Gable's size despite being basically the same height as him. Gable made short work of Mike Kanellis. Damn it, now I'm doing it. And made him tap out to the ankle lock. Elias appeared on the screen to sing a song about Chad being short. Get new material, WWE. Charlotte Flair had a meeting with Carmella backstage where it was seemingly established that Mella and Bayley used to be best friends. When did that happen? They then had a match with Bayley and Sasha Banks where the commentators kept talking about this supposed friendship between Mella and Bayley. No, seriously, when did this happen? The heels eventually won the match, with Sasha tapping out Mella with the bank statement, which would have been a fine finish, but Flair just stood on the apron like a total dick and didn't get in to help her partner. Mella was then carried away by R-Truth as she was chased by women looking to win the 24/7 title that, I'm sad to say, included the likes of Sonya Deville, Ember Moon, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. This made me so sad. Like Ronda Rousey last year, WWE have sacrificed the entire women's division to put over the horsewomen of WWE. And it's meant that really talented wrestlers are just on the sidelines doing nothing. It's hard to believe that back in January of this year, Asuka was the women's champion and tapped out Becky Lynch clean. Now she's running after a title that's treated like a joke. It's just sad. And don't get me wrong, I love Becky, Bayley, Banks, and Flair, and I'm glad they're getting pushed. It's just a shame that others can't get the same treatment. Speaking of the horsewomen, and Becky Lynch ran down to save Flair from a 2-on-1 beatdown, and it was announced that Lynch and Flair would take on Banks and Bayley next week on the Fox premiere of SmackDown. Ali and Shinsuke Nakamura continued their feud, with Nakamura pinning Ali following some Sami Zayn distraction. And like Corey Graves pointed out on commentary, Ali was basically an idiot for allowing himself to get distracted. Prince Ali, idiot, he got distracted. Chase Sami, quite silly, then he lost. New Day quickly beat the B-Team, and Mandy Rose was backstage handing out copies of a magazine she's the cover star of. Otis wanted a selfie with Rose, and then ogled over the magazine spread with Tucker. Oh yeah, Tucky, oh yeah! Please do buy our magazine using the link in the video description below. As endorsed by Chris Jericho. Ooh, a little bit of the Gremley. This all led to Fire and Desire taking on the Kabuki Warriors, 4 wrestlers who deserve so much better. Kabuki Warriors won with the insane elbow, and at least it seems like the page management thing has been quietly dropped, which is one positive to take away from all this. Shane McMahon came out with his lawyers and Owens came out to way less of a pop than he was getting before SummerSlam, and they talked more legally. To cut a long story short, Owens challenged Shane to a ladder match next week on the Fox premiere, where if Shane wins, KO will stay fired, and if Owens wins, then Shane is gone for good. And it seems that WWE themselves aren't interested in this feud, as they cut as quickly as possible to a backstage interview with Becky Lynch, which was stopped by Sasha Banks, who attacked her and left her laying. So, the final episode of SmackDown on USA ended with a Raw angle featuring 2 Raw stars fighting over a Raw championship. Quite a fitting way to go out when you think about it. Like Raw on Monday, this was mostly a stopgap episode before SmackDown moves to Fox next week. Really enjoyed all the Bryan, Rowan, Harper, and Reigns stuff, and Ali versus Shinsuke Nakamura is always fun, but there isn't a whole lot else to say, and the waste of the talent in the women's division on the blue brand is a real shame. This week's SmackDown Live is a low smack bang in the middle. And now over to Oli with them newses.
Great review, Luke, and farewell, SmackDown Live. Like any good relationship, it started off great with some memorable moments, but it got hella patchy near the end, and you randomly brought another guy in. Seriously, what happened to fake Rowan? Did Bryan and Reigns just kill him? But the 24th of September isn't just a historic wrestling date for marking the end of SmackDown Live on the USA Network. It's also when women's wrestling was really first invented, because 43 years ago to that day, Stephanie McMahon was born. Big Daddy V celebrated by tweeting, 43 years ago the world became a better place. Happy birthday to my daughter, with a picture of her in an extremely 90s rockers t-shirt. It's a sweet show of emotion from Vince, who often gets sentimental for birthdays. Like when John Cena turned 42 earlier this year. Happy birthday to WWE's Babe Ruth, John Cena. I really can't describe in words how much John Cena means to me and the WWE universe. Hustle, loyalty, respect, love. And for his biological son, Shane McMahon. Happy birthday, Shane. With a picture of Shane somehow looking completely blank, confused, and slightly scared all at the same time. And that gushing father-son affection stepped up again last night, when Shane got booked to face Kevin Owens in a ladder match that will likely see Shane written off TV. Next week's season premiere of SmackDown on Fox won't just have that huge ladder match, a 4-horsewoman tag, and Brock Lesnar likely beating Kofi Kingston for the WWE title. PW Insider has also confirmed what we've suspected for months based off the new logo. The very name of the show will change from SmackDown Live, as it has been since the brand split in 2016, to WWE Friday Night SmackDown, just like how Raw is actually Monday Night Raw. And in a very positive piece of news, the show's move to Fox will also overhaul how commercials are placed in episodes, with Ad Age reporting the double box shrink screen adverts aren't likely to feature on SmackDown, and the overall amount of commercial spots will be reduced by 10 to 20%, which means less time for adverts and more time for lengthy in-ring scripted promos. The article also notes a series of big money deals that Fox's sales department have already secured for WWE, including Progressive Insurance as the presenting sponsor, which will involve immersive integrations, which is fancy ad speak for awkward product placement in the show. Did I mention Chris Jericho tweeted about the WrestleTalk magazine? You can buy yours using a link in the video description below, along with Pizza Hut, Boost Mobile, Snickers, and Paramount, as Fox make a good start at clawing back the $1 billion price they've paid for WWE programming over the next 5 years. And with all that money, you better believe they want the hottest thing in WWE right now on their network. Since its first teases after WrestleMania, Bray Wyatt's character reinvention has become the most exciting part of WWE programming, with his Firefly Funhouse segments as must-see TV, and his Fiend appearance at SummerSlam being one of the best debuts of all time. Up until now, he's felt very much like a Raw wrestler, whatever that means, wild card, with his current feud being against Seth Rollins for the Red Brand's Universal title. But his first proper storyline was against SmackDown's Finn Balor, and there is a draft the Friday after Bray's Universal title match at Hell in a Cell. And according to the very reliable WrestleVotes on Twitter, a backstage clash might be happening over whether he'll end up on Raw or SmackDown. Something nobody can deny. A person who works for Fox has directly told me face to face they would like Bray Wyatt on SmackDown. However, it looks like he's going to remain on Raw, with Paul Heyman being a gigantic fan of his. Not confirmed, but we'll see. While Heyman is the executive director of Raw, he has been overruled by Vince recently, with the Wrestling Observer newsletter reporting how high Paul was on Cedric Alexander, for McMahon to suddenly then tell people backstage to bury him, resulting in Cedric's push being completely derailed since. If The Fiend does win the Universal title next Sunday, and Brock Lesnar wins the WWE title the Friday before, as expected, it's unlikely both will end up on SmackDown, as that would leave Raw without a top championship. But then again, this is the company that beat SmackDown 6-0 at last year's Survivor Series. With Lesnar being heavily featured in the original SmackDown pitch to Fox, and the network's desire to have a more sports-orientated product, which Lesnar's MMA background arguably fits better than The Fiend, you'd expect Wyatt to be drafted to Raw come Monday the 14th of October. How did WWE botch The Fiend after Raw went off air on Monday though? Find out what went down with him and Seth Rollins by clicking the video on the right. And what's the real story behind Goldberg and Dolph Ziggler having a fight at a porn star's birthday over the weekend? Click the video below that to learn more. I've been Oli Davies, and that was wrestling.